Hello, everybody, wrestling nerds, whoever the heck is watching this video. I do appreciate it. Let me just, I've had an idea for a while now, and this is not necessarily the proper execution that I want for this going forward. I plan on, maybe editing in some clips of traveling and stuff like that. Like a lot of the wrestlers do travel blogs. I could probably do something similar. I'm probably not as good. They're much better than I am, but I can figure out something. And I've been traveling way more than I expected. Basically, didn't really travel for professional wrestling until eh, maybe a couple years ago. We would do like driving our car to like Detroit for SummerSlam or to St. Louis for AEW Dynasty. That was kind of when we started, and just being like, okay, well, yeah, we can do little wrestling road trips like this. And then we went to All In 2024 in London, and went with some friends. It was me and my wife and some friends, and we went to London, and it was awesome. I mean, it's an easy statement to make, but like, it was just a really fun trip, and it was just like, shit, I've always dreamed about like going to these places and going to shows, and some of my friends who we went with on the trip travel all the time to AEW events or just other wrestling events or whatever. Like a lot of them are gearing up to go to Tokyo at the end of the month for all of the Japanese wrestling, basically. And I was a little envious, because I like wrestling just as much as they do, and I didn't do that. So I decided, like, hey, after we did London, it went into, okay, well, All Out was in Chicago, so that worked out pretty easily. We could do that. But then Wrestle Dream was in Seattle, and I haven't been to Seattle, and it was like mildly curious about, like, hey, let's maybe can I go to the Seattle thing? And knowing that, like, yeah, this is probably going to be Bryan Danielson's last match, if not ever, like, for a long time. That really solidified it and made me want to do that. And then just kind of went from there and snowballed, and led to me going this past weekend to North Carolina. It was November, like mid-November. The boys that run DPW announced that, hey, we're doing our last show for the foreseeable future in the United States next month, and we got one more tour of Japan in 2026, and that's basically all that they have planned to do. And I love DPW. I love Deadlock Pro Wrestling. It's one of the best indies currently going. My cat is playing with the Christmas tree. I love those guys. I love the podcast. I got really into it actually just because of like going to their wrestling events. I never really listened to it before. I found out they were doing a show in Chicago. Didn't really watch DPW either before that. But yeah, I was like, they're doing a show in Chicago. The card looked sick, and we went to the Berwyn Eagles Club at the time, and killer show, and damn it. Went to the show, and then I went to every other Chicago show that they've done since, and you gotta love cats and Christmas trees. It's good stuff. Anyways, went to all their shows in Chicago, and then when I found out, like, hey, they're doing the one last show in North Carolina, I was just, one of my buddies was like, I'm going to this, and I was just like, fuck, I really wanted to go too. So we did. Got a cheap Frontier Airlines flight, flew the entire family out. It was just me that went to the show, though. But they were doing $3 tickets, which was nice. God, I was actually driving to the airport to go to Full Gear when tickets went up for sale, and like literally was buying them as I was driving down to O'Hare to go to Full Gear, and got second row seats, which was awesome. And holy shit, she is Oh, she got an ornament. All right, we're maybe good. I don't know. I'm just gonna chase that around for a while. Anyways, went to Durham. Actually flew into Charlotte because it was cheaper to fly into and out of Charlotte, but also the times worked better, even with driving from Charlotte to the Durham, Raleigh, Cary, North Carolina area. And so flew to Charlotte, rented a car, made the drive over, and yeah, it was a fun, really fun trip. We obviously I went to the show Friday. Just tootled it around in Raleigh and Durham on Saturday. Went to some stores that my wife wanted to check out, and went to we did like a Christmas market in Raleigh. That was pretty cool. And then Sunday we basically woke up and drove back to the airport, and pretty successful trip, all things considered. It's about as good as things can go in regards to that, but you don't necessarily need to care about all those little details. I figured I'd just throw those in there just to make it, whatever. The DPW show, Friday night. I am going to start talking about things that if you don't want ruined for you, probably best to stop watching or come back to this later, hopefully. But I'll talk about the card. I won't talk about the match results. I don't think that's fair. But this card was a mystery card, so nothing, I won't say anything, like, this was all very much in the DPW universe, like, things all made sense storyline-wise. There really wasn't, like, a big, I'll be honest, there really wasn't, like, a huge surprise, of, like, wrestlers that were there. I mean, there was some good things, there was some surprises, nothing that was just like, holy cow, cataclysmic, like, fucking Kenny Omega showed up or something like that. First things first, though, going into the building, first 100 people got lanyards, which was awesome. I was not in the first 100 people, but that's fine. And then, but I did finally get a Deadlock shirt. I know the boys would always come to Chicago. I know they would fly in. They wouldn't bring merch with them because that's just a lot of extra bullshit to drag around with them. Granted, they probably could have filled up a suitcase full of t-shirts and probably sold them all, but they didn't, and I don't necessarily blame them. So I finally got my Deadlock shirt. I got a shirt for a friend as well, who also has been like going to a lot of these Deadlock shows in Chicago and really wanted a shirt, so picked one up for him too, which was awesome. And then got my seat, got second row on the side, one of the small, like the sides of the ring only had a couple rows of chairs, got a seat over there, pretty good seat. And yeah, I'm gonna go through the card quick, and then if you have any questions, you can't really take them because I'm just recording this. Eventually though, I want to do these kinds of things live, or do some travel blogs that are pre-recorded, but then also do kind of some of these things, talking about shows either that I went to or AEW shows or whatever, do them live on like StreamYard or YouTube or however the shit this works. I'm still figuring that out. I am old, but not that old. I will figure this out. So the card, first match, Belian Aki came out from Choco Pro. Not super familiar with his work. I know I've definitely seen him wrestle before. I'm pretty sure he was on the Evil Uno Mystery Wrestling show as well. He looked familiar, so I think that's maybe where I saw him. I'm not 100% sure. He came out, he wrestled Kevin Blackwood. Really solid match. I mean, the fun thing about these DPW matches is you really get some really good matches, and they don't go super long, which isn't a bad thing. A lot of times they kind of leave you wanting more with them, which is great, especially the undercard matches. Like, undercard matches really shouldn't go more than like 10, 12, 14 minutes or so, somewhere in that range. And they really, all these kind of pretty much do stick to that kind of time frame, which is great. It's not like they're running PWG matches where every match is 30 minutes and just an insane fest. Not that there's anything wrong with PWG and all those matches, because they're all fucking sick too. but I like different flavors of wrestling. And so Kevin Blackwood, Belian Aki wrestled. Great match, great back and forth match. They both got a lot of good spots in. Kevin Blackwood is, I'm not going to lie, I wasn't the biggest supporter of Kevin Blackwood. I don't know what it is. There's some wrestlers he likes, some wrestlers he don't like. It's kind of sometimes irrational, whatever. He's really been impressing me more recently. I saw him at the Arrival show in Jersey a couple weeks before that, and he had a great match with Kevin, with himself, with Steve Macklin, and yeah, he's really he's kind of winning me over. I know he was big in Prestige and all that, and I try to watch as much indie wrestling as I can, but like time is limited on this planet, and there's so much great wrestling, so I haven't gotten to watch all of his catalog. But yeah, he's really kind of winning me over with this stuff, and yeah, it was a tremendous match, great match to open with for the crowd. Like they really did a good job of getting the crowd hyped for the rest of the show. The next match was SoFly Manny Lowe. He came out and he wrestled the bounty hunter Brian Keith, which was probably like one of the bigger surprises of the show. Granted, you can't run a DPW show and not have the bounty hunter on it, like the final DPW show. You can run a regular one, but you needed Brian Keith on this show. He exemplifies a lot of the DPW spirit. He kind of, this was one of the launching pads for his career. It's got him signed by AEW, and I love Brian Keith. I think he's a great guy. I think he's a great wrestler. I sometimes get frustrated with his AEW booking just because I feel like he could probably be doing more on that roster. I think when he goes into an indie show like this, like he's been wrestling a lot for Jersey Championship Wrestling as well. I think he truly shows like, hey, he's a really fucking good worker and he's deserving of a lot more. Granted, like AEW, there's so many talented wrestlers and it's hard to find your niche and fit into the puzzle unless you're truly like a top guy. I think Brian Keith could maybe get there at some point. I'd love to see him like work his way through, and right now he's still doing that tag team with Big Bill, but maybe someday we'll get there. But yeah, really good match again. Brian Keith is great. Manny Lowe is a tremendous up and comer. I got to watch him in Jersey Championship Wrestling a couple weeks ago. There's a lot of wrestlers that were on this show that I saw in Jersey as well, which is great. Like it's really fun watching all of these wrestlers multiple times, multiple venues, multiple different crowds, and kind of seeing how they react and perform in front of everybody. And yeah, just exactly what you'd expect out of this match. Just two tremendous wrestlers doing their thing, and solid match. Next match I was very excited for because one of the wrestlers that just he defines what indie wrestling is at this point. I love Calvin Tankman. I think he's great. I love whenever I can see him on an indie show. When I went to my first GCW show, he was wrestling against Blake Christian and for the GCW title, and that match really won me over and made me a Calvin Tankman fan. And he really doesn't wrestle a lot for GCW, but I've seen him a lot in different other different promotions, and absolutely great worker. Solid. I mean, he's a tank of a man, but he is really, really good. And for a man his size, he can fucking work. And then he wrestled Kevin Koo of Violence is Forever, and another great guy who I've watched a lot on the indies in the Chicago area since he lives there, and I've seen him a lot, and both these guys are fantastic workers, and obviously this match again was exactly what you'd expect. Another solid match. There's a fun moment. I won't, not spoiling too much because wrestling matches, whatever. There's a fun moment where Calvin Tankman actually did a dive to the outside and had like our section clear out and stuff like that, which is always fun when there's a massive individual flying towards you. Not at all scary. But no, it was really cool. A really good match. Again, all of these are really good matches. And I don't want to go into too much detail on things, but just like man, the level of talent that this company has, that like, hey, a guy like Kevin Blackwood's in the opener, and like every match just brings a ton of talent. It's just awesome. The next match, the last match before intermission, was a street fight between Trevor Lee and Adam Priest, teaming up against BK Westbrook and Andrew Everett, which, of course, if you've been watching DPW, it makes sense storyline wise. Trevor Lee's just kind of been an asshole who's kind of created a lot of grudges against himself for being an asshole. And the team of BK Westbrook and his old buddy Andrew Everett challenged him in his newly found partnership with another asshole in Adam Priest. Worked really good, and this definitely broke the 12-14 minute threshold. This was a longer match, but it delivered. And DPW, for no other reason, would be going out of business because they had to buy 3 tables for this match, and they broke them all. And there's a couple ladders involved too. They definitely went to the hardware store and blew their budget on this one, especially selling $3 tickets to get into the building. But all jokes aside, great match. This honestly, this was probably my match of the night. It was just really well done. Both sides got a lot of offense in. There's a lot of crazy spots in it. All 4 are just solid workers, and man, this was a lot of fun to go into intermission. And then intermission happened. Some of the wrestlers, sold their wares and stuff around the ring. And then we got back to the action, and that first match back was another tag team match. Bodash came out to defend their tag team titles against Miracle Generation, who they won them for in the previous show. Won them from in the previous show, sorry. And yeah, this was another great tag team match. I don't want to sound mean. I've seen Morgan Dash before, and the dude is very small. And I always I kind of get off put. I don't really I'm well, he's that tall, and it's weird that professional wrestlers are, tiny people sometimes. Not that that's bad, but it's just sometimes there's a level of expectations when it comes to wrestlers, especially growing up like I did in the 80s, where they're all just big jacked roided up dudes, and then Morgan Nash comes out, he's this little dude, which is great. He blew me away as a wrestler in this match. He worked his fucking ass off, sold like a motherfucker, and just a tremendous worker. Definitely won me over big time in this. And his partner Bojack, who I'm not super familiar with. Obviously, I've seen him at on taped DPW shows, ones that are on their on-demand service. But this is my first time seeing him live, and there's always a lot more to notice when you go to shows live, and that's why I love going to live professional wrestling. It's just because there's just a lot more little things that you kind of pick up about performers and how they react to things and how they actually move, and you can show things one way on TV or video recording, but it looks different in person. Both these two definitely, I get why DPW was like, let's put the tag team titles on these guys. At first, when they made that decision, I was just like, I'm not really feeling this. I really like Miracle Generation. I think they're both 2 great workers. Obviously, everybody on the show is a great worker, though, because the boys just have a tremendous eye for talent. But yeah, this was just a sheer banger of a tag team match. This one and the other tag team match are definitely go out of your way and make sure that you watch both of these, because they're both a lot of fun in their own special way. Yeah. Next, Queen Aminata came out, which was another surprise. Although she is the DPW Women's Champion, she came out, but she did not defend her title because she's not medically cleared yet. She did announce that she has a sprained neck. I don't think that was publicly known, or at least I didn't see exactly why she had to pull out of the AEW. She was in the tag team tournament, I believe, or was going to be, or she was in the Pure Championship tournament for sure, and had to pull out of that. I think she was going to be in the women's tag team title tournament, but had to leave, or what was the situation? I don't remember. But she was going to be in blood and guts too, and couldn't do that either. So, anyways, she came out and said, "I can't defend my DPW Women's Championship. It's not fair for me to hold this." And said, "Hey, this title is going to be up for grabs in the next match." Which Lena Cross came out and confronted her, and again, Lena Cross is another person I just like. Absolutely huge fan of hers. I think the world of her. I think she's going to be a tremendous asset in wrestling in the future, and she's the tallest bitch on the indies, right? So immediately her coming out, confronting Queen Aminata, saying, "I'm going to win this belt." It's a great moment, and then her opponent, Mai Saruga, came out and faced her. Sorry for saying that weird. Mai Saruga isn't like a person who I'm super familiar with because I don't really watch a ton of Chaco Pro, or I try to watch as much wrestling as I can, like I said, but just like sometimes there's little blind spots that happen. But this was a tremendous match. Again, not to be a size guy, just trust me. But anyways, this was another one where Lena Cross, tallest bitch on the indies, Mai Saruga, not very tall, and the best thing that wrestling can do is take these two people that should not be in competition with each other and make the entire thing believable, and that's exactly what they did. And this was a great match. Lena Cross pretty much dominated a lot of it, but Mai Saruga would fight back, and just your epic, David versus Goliath sort of story. And another match that I would throw in with those tag matches is definitely worth checking out, because this was a very solid match. I mean, all of them are watch them all. Please, watch them all. You're doing a disservice to yourself if you don't. The next match, Eric Stevens came out carrying a dog collar. I'll give you 100 guesses on what happened next. I'll wait for you. Oh, yes, you got on your first guess. Of course, Mad Dog Connolly came out, and then they fought, obviously, because that's what wrestlers do. It wasn't technically a dog collar match, but they did both kind of strap on the dog collar for a bit there, and without going into too much details, this was your typical Mad Dog Connolly match where there's a lot of violence happening here, and I won't get into anything specific or any sort of weapons or anything used in this match, but this was if you like just violent Mad Dog Connolly fights, this was right up there with the best of them. And then the main event, LeBron Cozone came out to challenge Jake Something for the DPW Heavyweight Championship, and I mean, if you watched the last show, you saw a tremendous match between the two performers that led to LeBron Cozone beating Jake Something and then challenging him again on this show. And another really solid match. I felt like this one, if I had one complaint about the show, I felt like this match could have gone like another 5-10 minutes, something like that. I get why it didn't. It was getting to be a bit late at that point, regardless. But I could have watched these two behemoths fight forever, to be perfectly honest, and I hate the whole fight forever thing. I mean, I don't hate it. I appreciate the performance. I do appreciate the work they're doing. Sometimes, matches need to end, let's be honest. But this one is definitely one of those, like, I could have watched them go for a bit more, just because I love both of these two. Jake Something is probably my favorite indie wrestler at the moment, just because dude fucking kills it. Although I don't even know if he's an indie wrestler or he's signed with TNA. I don't know, but he wrestles on the indies quite a bit, and I definitely love checking out Jake Something matches. And they fought for the title, and that was the last match on the show, the last official match on the show. I'm not going to say anything else. And then at the end of the show, the boys, James and Johnny, came out. The pizza guy was nowhere to be seen. Probably, I don't know where he was. But that's okay. They came out, thanked the crowd for being there, gave a little speech. They all took picture that was really cool, of like everybody in the ring, around the ring, all the fans there. That was a really fun little moment. My face is kind of weird in it, but whatever. And yeah, it was just a really fun night. The DPW 4th anniversary show. Now I can show you that. At the end of the show, they handed out this poster as well. I have it in a frame. I'm sorry that it's shiny. I thought, like, I kind of realized afterwards, I'm like, oh, I should have just like went back to the ring and had a bunch of people sign this and stuff like that, because that would have been easy. But you know what? Maybe this is a good conversation piece, and I'll just bring this to other shows that some of these people are at and try to get it signed by them at those shows. But yeah, the really fun little touch that they did the poster. They handed that out at the door. I like that quite a bit because I like posters and especially shows that I've been to. Yeah, so that was the DPW show. In a nutshell, I could go into more details, but I don't want to, because I want you to watch the show and experience it for yourself and enjoy it for yourself and be surprised by the endings or whatever. But yeah, I guess I'm going to wrap this up now. Thank you for watching. If you want to see more stuff like this, comment. If you want to see less stuff like this, I guess comment, though it'd be a little mean. I'll work on a better format for this. This is my first time just trying this kind of thing out. But thank you for watching, and I will see you at some point in the future. And in the meantime, just watch some professional wrestling. It's very enjoyable.